So a little late, I know, but I finally watched Renfield last night, and honestly, I rather enjoyed it. When I first saw the trailer for it, admittedly, I was sort of like, I mean, obviously, totally stoked to see Nick Cage playing Dracula. Nick Holt is an awesome actor. Awkwafina, I think that she's absolutely hysterical. The casting was just brilliant, but I couldn't help but think this could easily be sort of a ripoff of What We Do in the Shadows. I mean, it definitely does seem to be cashing in on that whole thing. It was serious vampires like a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, and now it's like, you know, vampire spoofs or whatnot. This film bears absolutely no resemblance whatsoever to What We Do in the Shadows. It gets started right from the outset, and it does not stop until the end. It's kind of a crazy world that we live in, where you look at a movie that used to be just average length, you know, an hour and 33 minutes long, and you're like, wow, oh my God, that's a short movie, that's a breeze. Everything now is so bloated and so inflated and part of some universe or franchise or whatnot, and it sets up for like the next 11 movies. It's like, it was nice to see just a simple hour-and-a-half movie with Nick Cage being Nick Cage as Dracula. It combines action and horror and comedy pretty well. I mean, I would actually say lesser on the horror. I understand that it revolves around Dracula, and there is a ton of gore in this movie, but it's not even like, it's a cartoon. The gore is not to be taken seriously whatsoever. My wife doesn't like hyper-violent things, and she found this amusing because it was just so cartoonishly over the top. But that being said, there really isn't much of a horror element here. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there was more legitimate horror in Shaun of the Dead than there was in this film. Even when it's not like really funny, again, it's moving. It's perpetually moving. On that note, I've heard from a couple critics, ones that I definitely respect their opinion, that Awkwafina's storyline kind of like takes away from the story. Like, it almost feels like they were two movies trying to fuse into one. I don't think so at all, because there's a relevance to everything that happens. I mean, yes, every character has their own story, but then when they get to know each other, things happen that involve directly. Evil meets evil, good meets good, etc. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. I don't really understand where that came from, and again, with the hour, I don't want to keep referring to the hour-and-a-half runtime, but it was a breeze. It really didn't slow down the movie for me at all. The term narcissism in this day and age gets thrown around so much, it almost has no meaning anymore. But for those who do know an actual narcissist, or have escaped a narcissistic relationship, this movie will make you feel a lot better, I think, because it does deal with it, and to have Dracula portraying all of the symptoms of like a classic narcissist, and having Nick Cage do it above all things is just absolutely great. And it's, again, it's light. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the parts that would be a little bit more heavy, it's just laden with humor the entire time. It's not even really an allegory. It's like the blatant theme of the movie. Renfield going to his self-help group, and Dracula just like manipulating and flipping everything around. I'm not the monster, you are. Even though that is the blatant theme of the movie, it does incorporate the theme without being heavy-handed. And I don't know, I just thought it was craftily done. It's not like a masterpiece, it's just a fun movie. It's not part of a universe, it's not part of a franchise, it's just simple fun. And even if you're not a gore hound, regardless, I would wind up checking it out, frankly, because it's so over the top, it's not even like, you can't even take it seriously. If you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, consider subscribing to my Rumble channel. And if you are subscribed to my Rumble channel, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And that's all she wrote.